Hello and welcome back to another episode of Pokemon Theories with your host, Protomario, the hostess with the mostest. Anyways, on to our subject matter today. What if Pokemon wasn't called Pokemon? What if it was called another game and was a completely different game? We'll be touching on a few things today, and not exactly theories, but nevertheless, I don't think this video would fit into any other category, so let's get on with it. The first picture I'm going to be taking a look at today is the pre-alpha sketchbook, Capsule Monsters. This was to be the original name for Pokemon. Unfortunately, it was changed due to copyright problems. You can see on the front it says Game Freak Incorporated. 1990 was the year that the pitch went off, and it was not developed until much later. The pitcher of this idea was rejected 4 times by Nintendo until said time where it was rearranged, changed around, and they took a gamble on it. So, yeah. The picture, you can see a monster that looks kind of like an eel attacking another monster that looks somewhat like a Rhydon without the horns, or another furry type of monster with a trainer throwing Pokeballs out. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. Next, we have the Alpha map. There's nothing different about this. They kept the map the same, so again, kind of cool. I'm not really sure what the C and the T stand for, but nevertheless, the map's still there, so yeah. The next picture, if you're not familiar with, is a different version of a picture that was featured in the trainer's booklet, where red, blue, and green are. If you don't know who green is, or blue is, or red is, I don't think you should be watching this video, because you really need to brush up on that information to understand the pre-alpha sketches and what they really wanted to do with the game. Nevertheless, you can kind of see the direction they wanted to go with the game and how they changed it around to suit something else. Next photo, you can see a trainer signing into a hotel, which I would assume would be something similar to a Poke Center, where you would be able to sleep for the night and your Pokemon would be rested up. You can see another trainer talking to another trainer, as they have capsules on the back of their belts and stuff like that. The next photo shows a small version of what could be assumed to be a pre-Rhydon or Kangaskhan hopping out of the capsule. This pre-Kangaskhan Rhydon has been seen many times and makes an appearance as the statue in the current games of Red and Blue, as well as several other games. The next photo indicates a shop that did not make it into the final cut. As you can see, you can purchase Pokemon where there is almost no shops where you can actually purchase Pokemon other than the game corner, which very well may be this, but it doesn't really seem like it, because a man sitting behind the counter, he's a huskier, bald man, and the trainer is trying to purchase Pokemon. As you can see in the background, again, there are Rhydon-esque looking Pokemon. So here's another good shot, and I do believe this one is actually Rhydon. You can see the trainer has his flashlight out, he's in a cave, he's looking around, and he has a Rhydon following him. Another indication that they kind of wanted to have Pokemon following you throughout the game, so maybe this is where the idea for that kind of stemmed, with Pokemon Yellow and Pikachu and Heart Gold and Soul Silver. So that's really cool to see, and you can see pocket monsters hatching out of eggs also. The next picture is depicted as a trainer's room, where this could be a trainer just packing a backpack or a bag or something, or healing their Pokemon. It's not very well shown what is actually happening. The next photo is a trainer seeming to want to trade or have a battle, and the other trainer is not having it at a crossroads. That's about it. I really like the fact that they're both wearing kind of the Velcro-y shoes. Oh man, the 90s were so awesome. The next photograph seems to be a split photograph where it took up 2 pages, and it's layout of a specific town. I'm not quite sure which town, but again, the trainer is with that ride on Ask Pokemon, or you can see another trainer is riding a bicycle, and there's a person staring at a giant monster that is actually in a cage. So, once again, interesting that this did not make it in. Perhaps this was an idea for the Savari Zone. Now, the next picture is something very interesting that people will find. Number 124 is Jinx, and I stumbled upon this researching for my Jinx, but as you can see, the beta and alpha pictures here are not of Jinx. One looks similar to Voltorb, and the other one looks some type of cat Pokemon, but I can't really say if it is or not Meowth. And they're both labeled number 124, but no Jinx. This shows that Pokemon was going to be a completely different type of game in regards to the strategy of how it was played with each individual move. This Pokemon specifically had a move called Fire Breath, and it took 70 TP, I believe. So Pokemon would be something very similar to a game like Digimon World for the PlayStation. If you ever played that, you will know exactly what it is, where the Digimon had 1, 2, or 3 moves, and it cost a certain amount of PP or TP to use from a giant pool rather than individual moves having PP. I wonder how radically different the game would have been if it was actually this. Nevertheless, this is a Charizard, or it's assumed to be Charizard. Number 174 is Charizard, which is an odd number for Charizard. The next picture you can see is a fire-breathing Pokemon that looks very similar to Tyranitar, and a kind of monkey with a hat on that's very similar to Slaking. Now, both of these Pokemon were not in the original game, but I do believe Tyranitar was supposed to be, and was cut due to memory limitations. As you can see, he's breathing some type of fire, which could very well be Hyper Beam. The next picture is a beta alpha photo of another Pokemon, number 211. I believe that's supposed to be Quillfish, but I'm not exactly sure. It looks interesting because this actually looks similar to Jinx in regards to the giant lips and the eyes, but nothing else. No Pokemon looks like this Pokemon, so very odd. The next picture is a Blastoise, I believe, and a Staryu having a battle. Staryu's tackling into a Blastoise. Nothing else to be said here. They look very similar to their final forms. The next photo is the trainer using Surf on what is supposed to be a Lapras, but Lapras obviously looks different from its final form. And the next photo is a Kakuna, which looks very creepy and weird, but nevertheless was cut for some reason and redesigned. And this photo is of what Kakuna was supposed to evolve into, but again was cut and changed into Beedrill. And this is Weedle. My god, please kill me. This was supposed to be Poliwhirl or Poliwrath. And here's a more close-up picture of the dinosaur hatching from the egg. This was originally Dragonair before its redesign. And this was Poliwag before its redesign. Not too much different from its final form. This is the picture that many people are familiar with and is in the back of any trainer's handbook of Pokemon Red and Blue. Again, Green, the trainer, was cut from the game. This is the female trainer that was supposedly supposed to be in the original game. As you can see, she has a water type of emblem on her left shoulder and a watch on her left arm, which I'm not entirely sure what this would indicate. Nevertheless, she was cut for some reason or another. So that is the pre-alpha sketches and some interestingly original facts. I hope it helped you with your Pokemon knowledge. Honestly, I have not much else to say about it. It's interesting to see what the game might have become if these things were implemented or added. Would it have been as successful? Would it not have been? I think the biggest contributing factor here would have to be the TP points instead of individualistic movesets with PP. I think that probably would have made it very stale and repetitive if you couldn't have learned different moves and you only had to keep one or two or something instead. So I don't know. I think the other big thing is the removal of Green from the game, which another rival would have been nice and would have made a lot more sense, just to be brutally honest. A female rival at that. So guys, I'm Protomario and I'm signing out. What do you think about these pre-alpha and beta pictures? Do you think there's some monsters that should have been added? The Rhydon-esque Pokemon continuously returns. What do you think that Pokemon is? Do you think it's Rhydon or do you think it's another one? Leave your interesting comments in the section below. I'm Protomario and I'm signing out, and happy gaming, guys.